At 2 in the morning, I just wrapped the drowning stunt and was being helped out of the freezing ocean by the crew. When they draped the down jacket over me, my fingertips were still purple and my teeth wouldn't stop chattering. My phone vibrated once in Tara's palm. The top trending headline popped up. Lucas carries Vivian back to hotel at midnight. In the photo, the man's profile was lit clearly by the hotel entrance lights. He had his head bent, shielding the woman in his arms. His coat draped over her shoulders like she was some priceless treasure he'd just found again. The gossip blogs captioned her even more. A decade-long love finally fulfilled. I stared at those words so long that the nearby prop assistant whispered, "Aurora, are you okay?" I glanced at my left ring finger. I'd taken the wedding band off and hidden it inside the pendant of the necklace I wore next to my skin. Lucas said actors' hands were always being photographed. The secret marriage couldn't risk even the tiniest slip? I'd believed him for 2 years, so when I got hurt on set, I didn't call my husband. When the awards host joked, "Chasing after Lucas again, are we?" I just laughed and played along. I told myself if I stood tall enough, one day he'd take my hand and tell the world I wasn't chasing. Wasn't a resource queen, I was his wife. The phone buzzed again. No call from Lucas. Vivian's fans had already pushed back together to the top of the feed. I pressed my icy finger to the screen and messaged Zachary. "Can the divorce papers be drafted tonight?" The instant I hit send, the sea wind cut through my wet hair. Suddenly, I didn't feel so cold anymore. In the van back to the hotel, Tara tried several times to speak. Each time I silenced her with a shake of my head. She'd only been with me 6 months and still didn't know about Lucas. No one in this town did. Lucas had buried the marriage so deep that when his old love made her come back at her first press conference, the official Mrs. Sterling could only sit in the third row and watch him tell the cameras, "Vivian means a great deal to me." So deep that the first time I landed the lead in Christian's new film off a straight audition, the internet screamed I climbed onto Lucas and stomped Vivian to get there. I'd come home clutching the offer letter and waited until 3am. Lucas walked in reeking of booze, spotted the cake on the dining table and froze. It was our anniversary. Rubbing his temples, he said, "Vivian just got back. She's fragile." "Be reasonable, or don't fight her right now." I asked, "What am I fighting her for?" He was silent a few beats. The role, back then I still argued. I pulled up the audition tape, the first draft contract. Christian's emails showed him everything. He gave it one glance and flipped my phone face down. "You don't have to prove anything. I know you worked hard, but Vivian's waited 3 years for this chance." I didn't touch the cake that night. Later the housekeeper tossed it. The cream collapsed, a mute lump like every word I never got to finish. When the car stopped in the hotel garage, Lucas rang. His voice was low. I could hear the elevator chime behind him. "Saw the trending tag?" I leaned back, throat raw from swallowing seawater. "Saw it. Some stalker freaked Vivian out. Reporters everywhere. I couldn't bail on her." He paused. "Don't react. Don't let your team talk. She just relaunched. She can't take a scandal." I asked, "What about me?" A beat of silence. "You know what we are." I knew, the hidden wife, the kind that lives in the dark. Softly I said, "When you carried her inside, did it cross your mind I was shooting a drowning stunt?" "There's a set medic," he answered, irritable. "Aurora, leave work stress at work. You're an actor. A little suffering is normal." Beside me, Tara's head snapped up, eyes scarlet. I actually smiled. "Right, normal." A soft female voice drifted through the phone. "Lucas, where's the medicine?" "Vivian." His breath hitched as if he covered the receiver, but I still heard, "Second drawer of the knitstand." Those words were colder than the ocean. I hung up. Tara timidly offered a tissue. I realized I wasn't crying, just bitten my lip open, copper on my tongue. Back in my room, I took a scalding shower. The water needled my shoulders. Every little wound stung. Blowing my hair dry, I caught sight of the ring tucked beneath my collarbone. When Lucas slid it on, he'd said, "The day I win my 3rd Golden Stag, we'll announce it to the world." Later, he did win. Backstage, I waited with flowers, but the host called Vivian's name. She hadn't even returned to acting yet, just showed up as the surprise presenter, eyes glistening as she handed him the statue. Lucas stepped into thunderous applause, accepting both trophy and her embrace. When the camera cut to me, the host quipped, "Aurora's here to look at that chemistry between Lucas and Vivian. Talk about nostalgia. Are you shipping them as hard as we are?" The whole auditorium laughed. I sat under the lights, the rain gouging my palm. I said, "Both my seniors are amazing." That night, Lucas didn't come home. Next day, he texted, "Long after party, don't overthink." I didn't. I simply stopped wearing the ring. When the dryer clicked off, Zachary rang. "Quinn, the paperwork's doable. You're sure you only want your solo earnings and pre-marriage investments? You paid half the penthouse down payment. I don't want the loft. If Ellis drags his feet, this could stall." I looked at the sea outside my window. He'll sign. He thinks I'm throwing a tantrum. Zachary didn't push. He only asked, "What about Eleanor's medical bills?" I squeezed the phone. "I'll figure it out." Mom was the reason I'd stayed married this long. Critically ill, frequent hospital stays, imported drugs, and rehab are money furnaces. Lucas had helped at the start. The first time she went into ICU, I was on set, shooting a crying scene so raw the director yelled cut and I still couldn't stop. Lucas flew in, signed the hospital guarantee, kept the press outside. Then I thought he just didn't know how to love. Later I learned whether someone wants to protect you and whether he can are two separate things. He could carry Vivian away from stalkers and lenses. He could also leave me in the spotlight until dawn. At 4 a.m., Vivian sent a voice memo. I tapped play. Her voice was soft and sweet, a knife wrapped in silk. "Aurora, don't be mad. Lucas is just worried about me. That paper marriage of yours was never real, right?" I listened twice. Paper marriage. So that's how he'd explain me to her. To me, career demands secrecy. To her, merely a contract. Both sides stay dignified. Only I was the joke. I saved the clip and forwarded it to Zachary. Then opened my laptop and began the statement, withdrawing from acting. My hands shook as I typed the first line, not because I missed Lucas, but because I missed myself. At 17, I'd left my small town for film school, spent 3 years as an extra, played nameless corpses on streets below freezing. Waited whole days in 40-degree studios for one line, "I love acting." When being slammed as an industry plant who lives off connections, the only thing you want is a body of work big enough to gag every mouth. Yet on this road, once Lucas and Vivian stomp every one of my steps into page 6 gossip and roll-snatching headlines, the performance will never be seen. I am quitting acting. It is not surrender. It is handing back the rotten screenplay they shoved down my throat. At Dell, my manager Lynn bursts in, iPad in hand. "Have you lost it? What does that retirement post even mean?" I'm checking my temperature. 1-02.2. Spotting the thermometer, she lowers her voice. "Let's get you to St. first. File the statement first." "The company won't greenlight it." She scowls. "You just landed Christian's female lead. Your shot at a comeback." I slide the statement across to her. "I'm withdrawing from publicity and future commercial gigs. If they keep me, I'll finish the movie. If they recast, I'll sign the termination." Emery's face changes color. "Did you and Lucas fight?" I give no answer. After a beat, she whispers, "Aurora, think. Your mom's monthly bills aren't pocket change. If Lucas really pulls the plug." I know. "Then why are you playing hardball?" I meet her gaze. "Lynn, I've played soft for 2 straight years. The room stills." She looks at me and finally sighs. "Go to ST. I'll stall for half a day and haggle with HQ." I nod. My phone rings again. Lucas's assistant. "Jordan, Luke says don't leave the chateau today. The blogs are ugly, and once you're seen they'll claim you're riding Ms. Lane's heat." "Anything else?" An awkward pause. "Christian's picture. HQ wants the announcement postponed. Luke thinks Vivian's recovering well. Maybe she's better for the part. You can scope other scripts." Fever throbs in my skull, but my mind snaps ice cold. "Verbatim?" "It's best for the project," he hedges. I hang up. Lynn, having heard everything, slams the iPad on the table. "Is he insane? You ranked first at the audition. Christian locked you. Who is he to veto?" "Because he's the top grossing. Because money stands behind him. Because the whole town knows Vivian is his moonlight that never fades, and no one knows I'm his wife." I text Christian. "Christian, if the producers feel heat, I can walk. But please keep my audition footage and raw files for now." He replies instantly, "Get healthy. The role is mine to cast, not the trending charts." Reading that line, my sinuses suddenly sting. Turns out someone on Earth actually picks the girl who acts better, not the one who's someone's wife. Someone's rival, someone's stand-in. The antiseptic reek at ST is suffocating. The doctor says a mild lung infection demands an IV drip and observation. Flat on the gurney, I email the safe deposit box inventory to a second-hand jeweler. Most of the pieces I bought myself leftovers from award nights, brand shoots, magazine spreads. Among them, a sapphire necklace Lucas gave. First year of marriage, he missed my birthday to accompany Vivian's mom to surgery. Next day, his assistant delivered the stones. The card read, "Don't fuss. Behave." I list it too. The dealer asks, "Top grade stones sure you want to sell?" I reply, "Positive." That afternoon, an uninvited guest glides in. Masked and sunglassed, Vivian enters flanked by two assistants, like an angel who took the wrong ward. Tara moves to block. I lift a hand and dismiss her door shut. Vivian peels off the shades. Her outer eye corners are pink, as if she's been crying. "Aurora, I honestly didn't want to come," she perches on the bed, but Lucas is cornered. I watch the drip chamber drop. What's cornering him? He's afraid you'll imagine things, afraid you won't play fair. Her voice is cotton soft. "You know we go back 10 years. Some things a marriage certificate can't rewrite." I look at her at last. "So you knew we're married?" She smiles. "Lucas never hid it. He said it was mutually convenient. He funded your mom's treatment. You kept him company in his slump." Nausea climbs my throat. Mutually convenient. So my mother's illness, my 2-year vigil, every grievance swallowed in the dark, all nothing but a transaction. She lays a gown lookbook on my quilt. "For the press junket, the stylist pulled this one for you. Lucas thinks it suits me better. You won't mind, Aurora, will you?" I recognize the white column dress. The stylist gushed it was moonlight on the ocean. Perfect for the woman who crawls out of the deep. I finger the needle bruise on my hand. "If you like it, wear it." Vivian blinks, startled by my calm. Then she's all teeth again. "You're more reasonable than I expected." I smile back. "Miss Lane, I'll see the gown and I'll see the man." Items stolen off the rack feel heavy on the body. Only the thief knows the weight. Her face finally cracks. The door swings open. Lucas stands there, gaze snapping first to Vivian's strange cheeks. "What are you doing here?" She drops her eyes. "I only wanted to clear the air." She still blames me, I think. Lucas turns to me, brows knit. "Aurora, was that line necessary?" I don't bother asking which line. He always believes her first. I yank my earbuds out and tap pause on the phone recorder. He sees it and darkens. "You recorded us?" "Habit," I say, "otherwise no one ever believes me." Irritation flickers in his eyes. "Must you drag this into the sewer?" "You two walked into my ward." Vivian tugs his sleeve lightly. "Let it go, Lucas. She's sick." His tone softens. "I'll drive you home." He escorts her out. At the threshold, he finally remembers me. "Stay offline and steer clear of Christian." "I'll sort the roll." "Into what?" "Something good for everyone." The door clicks. Tara rushes in, crying harder than me. "Sis, how can he?" I back the file up to cloud. "Because he thinks I can't leave." Tara sobs, "But can you?" I stare at the gown catalog on the knitstand. I can. That night, Zachary emails the divorce agreement. I e-sign, then book the morning shuttle back to town to notarize the hard copies. Lynn arranges for me to transfer hospitals. Mom's original ward partners with Lucas's team, bills footed by his accounting clerk, Alicia and Cutting. At dawn, my fever dips. Masked, I board the first coach city dash bound out. The penthouse loft tops the riverfront tower. Lucas chose it for the skyline. "Great for your writing," he said. After I moved in, I realized how little of me is here. Living room walls plastered with his film posters, study lined with his statues, walk-in dominated by his couture suits. My screenplays, notebooks, hand-drawn storyboards, all of them were stuffed into the guest room closet. Like a marriage that was never meant to be seen? I opened the safe deposit box and packed my documents, contracts, Eleanor's medical chart, bank cards, and the hard drive that held every script I'd ever written into the suitcase. The last thing I took out was the marriage certificate dot in the photo. I'm grinning like an idiot. Lucas wore a cap and a mask that day. We'd slipped in through the side door of the county clerk's office, as secretive as two people checking into a cheap motel for an hour. I remember him squeezing my hand and whispering, "You'll only have to be patient a little while." A little while. Turned out to be 2 years. Could have been a lifetime. I slid the certificate into a file folder and set it dead center on the dining table, flanked by the divorce petition. The wedding band I unclasped from my necklace and placed on the first page of the papers. When it was done, I texted Lucas. "The divorce papers are at home. 9 a.m., county clerk's office, 1 week from today." Half an hour later, he answered. "Are you done throwing your tantrum?" I didn't reply. My phone started ringing, first call, second, third, I rejected them all. On the sixth attempt, he sent a voice memo. Aurora, I don't have time to star in your little drama. Your mom's hospital bill for this month hasn't been paid. You sure you want to keep this up? After I listened, I saved the clip, then I blocked him. That morning I sold every piece of jewelry he'd ever given me and walked away with my first wad of cash. In the afternoon, Eleanor was moved to a new hospital. She lay in bed, her wrist so thin it looked like a bracelet of bones, and watched me fill out forms. Aurora, did something happen? She asked softly. I tucked the blanket under her chin. Nothing major. We're just switching to a quieter place. She studied me with cloudy, worried eyes. You and Lucas, Mom, I cut her off. We're getting divorced. She froze, then finally took my hand. Is it because of me? I shook my head. No, it's because I'm done betting myself on someone else. Her eyes reddened. She didn't plead. She only stroked the back of my hand again and again. Then divorce him. I'll skip a few pills if I have to. I won't let you stay in that kind of misery. I'd held my tears all day. They almost fell right then. I only bent my head, pressing her fingers to my cheek. You'll take every pill. From now on, I'm the one who supports you. The press junket for the film was set for 3 days later. During those 3 days, the internet kept fanning the reunion story of Lucas and Vivian. His team issued no denial. Vivian posted a window-side shot from the chateau. In the corner of the frame sat a man's watch. Netizens acted like it was New Year's. Someone dug up Lucas's old quote about the one who got away. Another fan stitched together their decade-old love scenes and called them destiny. Trolls flooded my socials, calling me homewrecker, industry plant, the bitch who stole Vivian's role. I said nothing. I stayed at St. Luke's while Mom did rehab, swung by the law office to finish paperwork, and boxed up every script and scrap of evidence at home. A screenshot of Lucas's team buying hit pieces came through a friend of Lynn's. Text messages between Vivian's assistant and the smear bloggers were sold to Lynn when the final payment bounced. Christian's production office still had the conference audio of Lucas asking the studio to replace me. I arranged every file in chronological order and emailed the whole binder to Christian. He called that night. Once this goes public, there's no going back for you and Lucas. I stared at the moonlit window. Christian, I left going back at the county clerk's office. A beat of silence. Then be at the junket. Reclaim your role yourself. Junket day. Vivian floated and wearing the white gown meant for me. Camera flashes swallowed her. She hooked her arm through Lucas's and smiled like the perfect leading lady. Lucas was in a black suit, the two of them the picture of rekindled Hollywood romance. Backstage, I watched the live feed. My stylist had put me in a simple black suit dress. No jewels, no war paint. Tara trembled beside me. That was your gown. I snapped the compact shut. Not anymore. On stage, the host asked Vivian what drew you to Christian's new project. Vivian glanced at Lucas. The character is brave, patient. I'm here because so many people never stop believing, especially Lucas. He's protected me all these years. The audience cooed. Lucas didn't contradict her. He only dropped a small, private smile. That tiny smile was enough to burn the final thread of old illusions. The host pivoted. Aurora is here too. The casting rumors are everywhere. Any comment from you, Aurora? Every lens turned on me. I stood, took the mic. Yes. The room stilled. After today, I'm done acting. Gasps rippled through the ballroom. The host scrambled. You're retiring from the industry? I'm retiring as a performer, effective immediately, I said into the glare of lights. But I'm not leaving storytelling. Lucas's face strained. He half rose as if to stop me, but Christian was already striding on stage. I have an announcement, Christian said. A tech tapped a tablet. The giant screen behind us lit up. File 1. The title page of the original screenplay till the tide ends. Writer Aurora. File 2. My audition tape. Their eye was no makeup, thrift store shirt playing the heroine the moment she claws her way out of the ocean and finds her voice again. Raw footage, no score. Only my shaking breath as I rasped. I didn't wait for anyone to save me. I swam. Silence. Then a reporter muttered, Jesus, she's good. The livestream chat exploded. Christian's voice stayed level. Aurora wrote this film. I cast her myself. Every rumor, nepotism, backroom deal, obsession was manufactured. Vivian's smile cracked. She sought Lucas's eyes. He was staring at me, something like panic flickering in his. Christian clicked again. A recording rolled. Lucas's assistant in the producer's meeting. Mr. Sterling thinks Ms. Lane's comeback needs a marquee project. We can push Aurora to a different slot. She's radioactive right now. Keeping her hurts the movie. Producer, Christian already greenlit Aurora. Assistant, laughing. Directors also need financing and screens, don't they? Chaos detonated. Cameras whipped back to Lucas. Is this true? What's your relationship with Aurora? Did you pressure the studio to fire her? Under the Klieg lights, Lucas's face was paper white. Vivian tried to step back. The hem of my stolen dress snagged on a chair leg and ripped open. She grabbed the table, cheeks flaming. I watched the dress gape, suddenly calm, moonlight that's stolen. I realized tears so easily. Lucas pushed past the reporters and came straight at me. Security blocked him. He stared, voice low. Aurora, come outside with me. I didn't move. Ellis, say it here. Ellis stopped. The words stabbed him. Do you have to do this? I'm not the one doing anything, I said. You and your people already did. The reporters buzzed louder. Jordan, when you say you two, do you mean Lucas and Vivian? I stayed silent. Christian stepped between me and the lenses. This is a film press junket, not a courtroom. All evidence goes to counsel and the platforms. Defamation will be handled under the law. The junket was forced to break. I slipped out the side door. Lucas ran after me. For the first time in front of a crowd, he shouted my full name, panic cracking through. Aurora. The corridor light was harsh white. I stopped. He closed the distance in 3 strides and reached for my wrist. I stepped back. His hand hung in midair. What does the divorce agreement mean? He demanded dots, so he had gone home and finally seen the ring. Exactly what it says, I answered. You're quitting the industry just to force me to go public? I looked at him. The accusation felt absurd. Even now he believed every choice I made orbited him. Lucas, I'm not forcing you. Then why didn't you tell me first? I did. My voice was quiet. I asked you, what about me? He froze. I went on. You said Vivian couldn't afford the fallout. His Adam's apple jerked as the phone call came back to him. I didn't know you were that sick. You knew I was shooting the drowning stunt. He had nothing. Tara hovered behind me. Aurora, the car's here. I turned to leave. Lucas spoke again. I checked on your mom's hospital. Did you transfer her? I paused. His voice dropped. Aurora, don't gamble with her health. If you need money, I can know. You sold the jewelry? He looked stricken, eyes reddening. You loved those pieces. I used to. I lifted my gaze, like I used to love you. The hallway fell silent except for distant reporter footsteps. Color drained from his face. I looked away and slid into the car. Before the door shut, he was still standing there, finally watching me leave, with no idea how to follow. 3 days after the junket, I filed the first round of cooling off. Paperwork. Lucas sat in a corner of the county clerk's office in a cap and mask, visibly thinner. When he saw me, he stood. Aurora, let's talk. I handed the clerk my folder. Process it first. He pressed the papers down. I don't agree. The clerk glanced up. I said calmly, then I'll sue. His fingers went stiff. It has to go this far? Yes. He studied me, then laughed bitterly, defeated, unwilling. You never used to be like this. And how was I before? He didn't answer. The old me would hunt for an apology after his cold shoulder, convince myself to be magnanimous when Vivian showed up, swallow every grievance and still bring him hangover soup. What he missed wasn't me. It was the Aurora who'd crawl back no matter how deep the cut. The papers were stamped. We were told to return in 30 days. I took the receipt and walked out. Lucas followed. I'll go public. I kept walking. Not necessary. I'll release a statement, admit we're married. Clear your name, say you're no resource leech. Lucas, I faced him. When I needed you to speak, you told me to shut up. His eyes were bloodshot. I was wrong. Then live with it. He rasped. What about me? I looked at him. You'll be fine. A little suffering on set is normal for Lucas. I threw his own phone line back. He flinched as if slapped. I got in the car and left. That night, Lucas posted his statement. He admitted our marriage, admitted he blurred boundaries the night we trended, admitted the recast discussion had been mishandled. It was prettily written. The internet didn't buy it because at the same time Christian's studio dropped the full evidence, chain purchase smear posts, suppressed audition scores, planted replacement rumors, orchestrated marketing. Every item came with screenshots, voice memos, contracts, timestamps. Vivian's team was exposed too. The so-called stalker scare was a staged hotel stackout. The watch-bearing photo was a planted reunion hint. The backlash arrived faster than I expected. Brands cut ties, projects halted, the guild called him in. His fans still argued he was just too loyal, until someone leaked my medical chart from the night I was hospitalized. Lobar pneumonia, 102.3-degree fever. That same night, Lucas carried Vivian into the chateau. The trending headline that had read "Decade-long love finally complete" now flipped. Secret wife hospitalized with fever, he shields moonlight in reunion stunt. I didn't scroll long. That day Mom could walk 10 minutes. I studied her down the war corridor. She hadn't seen the internet. She only asked, "Has Tara contacted you?" I said, "He did." Soft heart? I thought. I used to. Mom smiled. "Then you won't." The final week of the cooling-off period, I flew overseas with Christian's team. Filming was paused. The screenplay went into rewrite. Christian said, "If you want to act, I'll wait." I shook my head. I want to finish writing the story. He didn't push, he only handed me a key to a seaside studio. "Then write, don't rush to prove anything to anyone." The foreign ocean wind felt different, no set lamps, no trending alerts, number 3 a.m. calls. Each dawn I video chatted with Mom while she did rehab. Mornings I wrote, afternoons I debated characters with Christian, evenings I walked the shore alone. Sometimes I dreamed of the drowning stunt. In the dream the water was freezing and I kept sinking, but this time no one had to save me. I swam to shore myself. Lucas didn't stop reaching out. Email after email arrived. The first said he had cut all contact with Vivian. The second said he tried to visit Mom and the hospital wouldn't let him in. The third said the penthouse loft was untouched, the ring's still there. Later the messages shrank to single lines. "It's raining. Do your knees hurt? I watched your audition tape. You were brilliant. Aurora, why didn't I ever really look at you?" I never replied. On the 30th day, I sent Zachary back to finish the process. Lucas signed in the end. Zachary told me he sat on the courthouse steps afterward, clutching the wedding band for a long time. I only said, "Thanks for the trouble." When the divorce certificate reached me overseas, I was on draft 3. Inside the courier box, along with the document, was the ring I'd left in the loft, a sticky note in Lucas's handwriting. "I'll keep it for you. When you come back, we'll start over." I put the ring in the deepest drawer, not to wait for anyone, just to remind myself never hand my freedom to another person again. For a long time after that, I didn't hear anything about Lucas. It wasn't that he'd gone quiet. I'd stopped listening. Friends back home mentioned him now and then. They said the Film Association was investigating him, that projects were quietly replacing him. They said Vivian's comeback had crashed, fans abandoning her in droves. They said that once at the airport, a reporter asked Lucas if he regretted anything. He stood there for a long time and finally answered, "I regret not making her public sooner." I was peeling an apple for Mom when I heard that. The spiral of skin snapped. She looked at me. I smiled, started the peel again. Knife's dull. I finished the final draft of the screenplay 8 months after the divorce. I called it The Ebb Tide. Christian read it, then sat in the studio in silence. Outside the window, the sea stretched wide and gray-blue. He said, "You wrote yourself in." I said, "Only part of me. Where's the rest?" I stared at the last line on the screen. Alive. When production restarted, the lead role went to a newcomer. On audition day, her hand shook, exactly like mine years ago. I sat behind the monitor and heard her ask, "Rowan, is this okay?" I told her, "Stop waiting to be rescued. Play someone who walks out on her own." She nodded, tried again, that take was good. Suddenly I realized, after I left him, my world hadn't collapsed out, it had simply emptied a space and something new had grown. A year later, The Ebb Tide was selected for the International Festival. On red carpet day, Mom could finally walk, arm linked through mine. She wore a deep green kipao, her hair silver. Her eyes bright. As we moved through the flashbulb, she whispered, "Will I embarrass you, sweetheart?" I squeezed her hand. "You're the best thing I'll ever show the world." She swatted me, tearful, laughing. The ceremony was long. Before Best Screenplay was announced, I sat with damp palms. Christian leaned in. Nervous? A little? Afraid to lose? I shook my head. Afraid to wake up. Afraid this year had been a dream. Afraid I was still on that 2 a.m. beach in a clammy down jacket, watching the trending chart blare, decade-long love finally complete. The presenter tore the envelope. My name rang out. Aurora, The Ebb Tide, a Applause surged like surf. I stood. Mom was already crying, clapping hard as if drumming every injustice she'd never been able to avenge into that single moment. I reached the stage, took the statue. The lights were blinding. Strangers smiled below. Christian nodded. Gentle Dot, I said. Jamie to everyone willing to see this story. It's about a woman who walks out of the sea. She once believed someone had to wait on shore for her to feel loved. Later she learns the real shore is herself. Applause rose again. I didn't mention Lucas. I didn't mention the marriage. Some people belong in discarded drafts, never in the final cut. Backstage the corridor stretched long. Mom went to the lounge for her wrap. Christian was mobbed by press. I walked alone, statue in hand. Around the corner stood Lucas. He'd lost weight. The face cameras once worshipped now carried tired lines. The black suit still fit, but the arrogance was gone. In his palm lay 2 rings and a neatly folded sheet. I knew the letterhead. A year overdue public statement. His eyes reddened the instant he saw me. Aura. I stopped 3 steps away. Congratulations, he rasped. I watched the film. It's really good. Jamie. My politeness stung him. Still, he stepped closer. I came to give these back. He opened his hand. 2 rings under the ceiling lights. One his. One I'd left on the divorce papers. I know it's too late, he whispered, but I'm ready. I'll post it on every platform. Tell the world you were never some connection climber or clingy nobody. You were my wife. I looked at the ring. It had once dug crescents into my palm, once convinced me in lonely hours that I wasn't alone. Now it was only a small circle of metal. Too small to hold me. Lucas, I said, we're divorced. The light in his eyes flickered. I know, but we can start over. We can't. Why? His voice cracked. I've lost projects, endorsements, the association blacklisted me. Vivian, I accept all of it. I just want you back. I kept my gaze steady. You lost those things because you did wrong, not because I left. His mouth opened, no sound. I went on. When I most needed a name, you told me to shut up. Now the name you're willing to give is one I no longer want. Tears fell. His hand holding the rings trembled. Aurora, I really know I was wrong. I know. His head jerked up, a fragile spark in his eyes. I extinguished it. But I don't need you to spend the rest of your life proving it. At the far end, Mom emerged with her coat. Aurora, the International is starting. I glanced back, answered her. Lucas saw her too. Instinctively, he straightened his cuffs, the way he used to when elders were near. Mom merely looked at him, no scolding, no anger. As if he were a stranger whose name she'd already forgotten. I slipped my arm through hers. Behind me, Lucas called, Ors Aurora. I didn't turn. Mom's single quote's hand was warm, strong. The ballroom doors opened. Light and applause spilled out. Christian lifted a glass in salute. The young lead ran over, hugging me. Rowan, we won. I staggered, laughing, studied her. The doors closed slowly. In the final sliver of light, Lucas stayed in the corridor's shadow, still clutching those 2 rings, holding a past that had arrived too late to catch its flight. Later, I heard the statement never went out, not because he didn't want to. There was no one left to wait for it. Blacklisted, he had no projects for a long time. Now and then he was spotted in the last row of cinemas during the Ebb Tide tour, watching until the lights came up. Someone asked him in an interview, Casey, are you in this film? He was silent a long while. Yes, which character? He answered, the one who arrives too late. I caught that interview much later. I was in a table read for a new script. Sunlight poured through the window. Mom watered new flowers in the yard. I closed the clip, turned the page. The new story began. This time the heroine waits for no one to claim her. She stands in the light herself. Thank you for listening to today's story. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate this story? If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and share it with your friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more amazing stories. See you next time.